Welcome back everybody to Forza Horizon 5, and today we're taking a look at the 2023 Porsche 911 GT3 RS. So this started production in 2021, that's the standard 911 GT3, which was part of the 8th generation of the 911, codenamed the 992. But this RS variant was introduced in 2022, and is a little bit different to the standard GT3, quite frankly, because not only does it look radically different with all of its aerodynamic tweaks to give it the maximum amount of downforce that you can get, but it's also been changed in terms of improving aerodynamic stability. You've got these two I don't know what you call them, slits on the top of the roof there to improve stability at high speeds, and it's also got more power, and it's even more removed from being a usable road car. That's not to say that it can't be, but yeah, it's certainly not something that you'd want to use on a day-to-day basis, because it is extremely basic in a lot of ways. In particular, there is no trunk space whatsoever, so nothing at the front, and certainly nothing at the back, because that is full of engine. Inside, well, you do have a passenger seat, and you do have a few creature comforts, but that's about it. So it's not completely sparse, but neither is it as well accompanied as, say, a normal 911 or other, sports cars in this kind of category. So still got some decent amenities, but at the end of the day, it's more about the driving than anything else. And to help it in that driving aspect, it does have a hell of a lot of downforce to help its handling. So at 120 miles an hour, you got 902 pounds of downforce, but that increases to 1900 pounds once you get up to 177 miles an hour. Now that is around twice as much as the previous GT3 RS, which we also have on this game from 2019, and that means that it's got really good handling on this, and but thankfully it's not just based around downforce, because as we know, the standard 911 is still a really good handling car, so it uses that already good handling vehicle and then just makes it better when it comes to high rates of speed. So you don't have any of the usual issues when it comes to a car that relies on downforce, where at lower speeds it can be tricky, you can have oversteer, you can get wheel spin very easily, whereas that is just not the case with this vehicle, as it has the handling at the lower speeds, but the faster you go, even better handling you get as a result. And to help stop this car, you've got excellent brakes as well. These are some of the best brakes that we've got on a stock car on this game, and stop this car in no time at all, which is also helped by the fact it doesn't weigh all that much either, at 3,197 pounds. Now granted, that is 33 pounds more than the standard GT3, but that's just purely because it's got more bodywork to it to make it a better handling car. But to help offset that, we do have more in the way of horsepower. So from its 4-litre flat 6, which unfortunately we can't see, I don't think Porsche likes showing their engines off too much, we now have 518 horsepower and 343 pounds-feet of torque. So that's 15 horsepower more than the standard GT3, although weirdly it's 3 pounds-feet of torque less, so not quite sure why. Maybe they needed to compromise on a little bit of torque to get a little bit extra power, because at the end of the day this is naturally aspirated, it's got revs all the way to 9,000 RPM, so the engine is probably very hard to tune to get more power and hold torque or even gain extra torque. So but that's still a really good amount of power from a non-turbocharged, non-supercharged engine that is, at the end of the day, nowhere near as large as some other sports cars or supercars. So but nonetheless, let's get out onto the open road and see what this car can do. Right, so here we are once again at the drag strip, so let's see what this car can do before we hit the speed camera, and then we'll get it around its natural habitat of the track. So with that engine being at the rear and having rear wheel drive, it does have excellent launch off the line, and that gearbox is lightning fast, absolutely makes the most of the power that we have on board, which means nearly 144 mile an hour out of a barely 500 horsepower car that at the end of the day still weighs more than 3,000 pounds, has a lot of downforce acting on it the faster you go. That is really impressive. So yeah, no slouch at all when it comes to acceleration and top speed. And yeah, got plenty of mid-range clout as well, despite not having the most amount of torque from this engine. But it is the handling at the end of the day where this car really excels. And yeah, to see that, let's get to the track. So take a look at the stats first, and we'll compare it against other GT3s as well. So we're in top-end S1 class, as per usual for these kind of cars. Even a GT3 is greeting us on the menu there as well. So yeah, it's kind of meant to be. So yeah, let's go to manufacturer. So yeah, we've got the GT3 RS from 2019. We've already looked at that car. I think we looked at that on Forza Motorsport 7. So as you can see, it apparently does have slightly better handling and acceleration, and launch for that matter, although I don't find the launch all that problematic at all with this new car. But the braking is better, as you can see, and yeah, that's a big difference in stat wise. But I personally don't trust the stats on this game all that much, because they do seem to be a little bit hit or miss at times. But as you can see, compared to the 992 version of the GT3 that this RS is based on, as you can see, stat wise, handling is better, braking is better, and yeah, that's basically where you need it the most. But you can see the radical amount of differences in terms of the bodywork over the standard GT3. As you can see, we've got those massive air vents in the front, in the front, and then you've got the side extras as well to improve cooling and improve you know, the amount of airflow that's going over the car. And then the wing is gigantic in comparison. And then you've also got the red wheels and such to make it that little bit better in terms of looking how it does. In other GT3s, well, you've got the 2012 version, which yeah, is nowhere near as good in terms of power, but apparently the handling is even better, although the braking isn't. I imagine that's just because of how little it actually weighs. And then we've got the 2016 version as well, which does have less power and less torque, but also slightly less in the way of weight. But the handling is also pretty good as well. So yeah, again, not gonna put a lot of thought into the stats, but it is interesting to see the differences between previous versions of this car and the standard versions of the this as well, because obviously we have the standard GT3 on top of that as well. So yeah, it's just nice to see the differences between them, and it is nice once again to have another version of this car, because you have been able to see them evolve over time, and now you can see them evolve over time in real time on this game. But nonetheless, let's hear what this car sounds like, and we'll talk about it some more. So yeah, as per usual with these naturally aspirated GT3 RSs, the engine sounds absolutely glorious, and like I said before, revs all the way up to 9,000 RPM, just like the previous generation did. And yeah, this engine in these cars just works absolutely perfectly. No faults that can really give to the engine in the way it delivers its power whatsoever. And that all helps with acceleration, as 0 to 60 is dealt with in only 3.136 seconds. 0 to 100 is dealt with in 7.061 seconds. And despite all of that downforce working on the car, it'll still get up to a top speed of 192 miles an hour, which, yeah, it's quite frankly amazing considering all of that extra weight that is going to be generated due to the downforce. Like I said, even at 177 in mile an hour, it'll be producing 1,900 pounds. So yeah, 192, that's just going to be even more than that. So yeah, that's a ridiculous amount of downforce. But like I said as well, it doesn't rely on that downforce. So yeah, you can be confident in the corners that it will stick like glue to the road, even when you're less than 120 mile an hour. And that gives you the confidence to stick it right into the corners and not have to worry about any oversteer or any real understeer either when going through those slower corners. And then you have the brakes, which, like I said, are absolutely stunning. Let's see how quicker we can get stopped once we hit the finish line. That is no distance whatsoever, and we're doing well over 130 mile an hour there. So yeah, that is it's a ridiculously good car, to be honest, when it comes to the track. Hopefully we do get this on the new Forza Motorsport, because it will undoubtedly be a wild success on there. But even on this game, it is a glorious car to drive, and yeah, there's just pretty much nothing wrong with it. Yes, it's not practical. Yes, it does look like pretty much every other Porsche we've had before in terms of 911s, but just as a driver's car, it is superb in terms of engine, braking, handling, and just in terms of general fun at being a driver's car. It's just 10 out of 10 in all those regards, really. So yeah, glorious car. You can get it for only 20 points in the current festival per list. It is well worth getting, especially if you are a fan of Porsches. I am a little bit hit and miss at times. There's some that I really like this one, and then some that I don't. But yeah, this is definitely one of those that is in the like category for me, which is a big deal, quite frankly. So yeah, get out there and get it if you haven't already. Like I said, it is well worth getting. Nonetheless, so thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.